Hey, everybody. Welcome to another show. This here is the Ask Steve show. We come to you every week where we talk mules and donkeys. And I'll tell you what, I don't know any other place in the world that shows up every single week for an hour straight exclusively to talk about the mule and the donkey. So you are in a unique spot, and we are so glad that you're here. My name's Dave. This is Steve Edwards, and we are very excited today to have a special guest. We'll get to that in a few seconds, but if this is the first time ever watching, I just want to say thank you for being here. We know that you could spend a lot of your time doing other things, and the fact that you're here means the world to us. So thank you very much. Steve, how have things been going since we last talked?
Oh golly, buddy, I don't even remember closing my eyes. I think I just been going 9-0. This stuff of being close to being retired is not even, that's incredible. But yep, been busy, got plenty to do. I'm getting ready to fly out to see a friend of mine in Georgia, and then we're going to fly over to see my buddy over there in Shelbyville, Tennessee, here next week.
Ooh, sounds like you've got a look at the script of what we're talking about today. I heard someone say that, well, I asked someone, I was like, oh, is he a young guy? He says, he's a young guy until he goes in the ground. Steve, so you're still a young guy. You should be keeping busy.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
right. So
right.
that Marty, he's a young guy too, because he ain't in the ground yet either.
All right. Well, that's right. We have Mr. Marty joining us today, but give me 1 second. I just want to say if this is your first time hanging out with us, we are so grateful that you're here. Today is a recorded conversation. Most days we show up live and you can interact and we can talk back and forth. Today is recorded, but never fear. The same rules apply. There's really only three things we ask. Number one is that you share your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather's like. You can do that in the comment section, and that just gives myself and Steve and Marty and everybody who's hanging out with us a chance to just know that, hey, we're not alone. There's plenty of opportunities for us to find ourselves all by ourselves, and we need to be reminded that we are community type people, that we are meant to be in community, that we are meant to do life together, and we are so grateful to do life with you here today on this program. The second thing is that you ask any and every mule or donkey question that you got. Now, this being a recording, obviously, I'm not going to see it in real time because we're not doing any weird spiritual mumbo jumbo here, but I do have the power of coming back and looking at the comments later on, and we will get to your question in a future week. So share any and every mule or donkey question that you got. And then the third one, and this is a big one today, because we are talking to Marty Ray Gordon, American Mule and Bluegrass Festival, American Mule and Music Association. You're going to want to share this because it is an incredible opportunity. If you love mules, if you love music, if you love helping the veterans, if you love America, oh my goodness. This is, I was going to say the trifecta, but whatever the four is, all four of those things coming together, that's what we're talking about today. So share the broadcast, click that share button without any further ado. Marty, how's it going, my friend?
It's great. We're here in Tennessee, and the weather's just perfect, guys. It's been a good day. So I just thankful to be here and part of this podcast with y'all.
Oh man, we're so glad to have you here. I'll tell you what, when the weather is perfect here, you can keep the sliding door open all day. But right now, at the time of this recording, we're at the mode where you can open the back door in the morning and in the evening. But in the daytime, it's still too hot. You can cook eggs on the asphalt. It's just a little bit too hot.
You open a door here and a rattlesnake will come in.
Marty, the first time I ever went out to Steve's ranch, and I've shared this before, but I'll share it again here. It's been a while. We're down at the ranch around the round pen and the arena, and we're filming different videos. And Steve goes, hey, let's go on up to the house. Let's get some lunch. So we go up there, and he goes, oh, you see that? And I look over, and there's a rattlesnake right there on his back porch. He grabs a hoe, goes over, whacks the head off, shakes it, goes dinner tonight, and we go in and have turkey sandwiches. That was my first experience with Mr. Steve Edwards. So, yeah, he's not joking. So Steve,
shovel at each door.
yeah, you got to have a shovel at each door. You never know.
That's right.
Never know. So Steve, why don't you share with us real quick how you and Marty connected, and then we'll talk a little bit about, we'll get into the festival.
Oh my goodness. Well, it happened to be that Marty had set up a clinic to go right next door to his place. And we did a mule clinic over there, and he had a mule he couldn't load in the trailer. and I introduced him to the come along hitch. And Marty, tell us about that little event there with that, how that kind of changed your life around.
Well, Steve, it was a life changing experience. My wife has told me, said, you need to go down to that clinic and listen to that mule man. I said, I don't think he can tell me anything. I know most anything about these mules. I don't need to know anything. But he said, well, you can't get that mule loaded. Maybe you need to take that mule down there and let's see if he can load that mule. And so I did, and give in and went down there. And I was really embarrassed that the mule. It took about 2 dogs and 6 men to try to get her on the trailer. And Steve put the come along halter on her right there in front of everybody, and that was a experience for me that I really like to just walked out there and got out of the sight, But he jerked that come along halter, and then that mule jumped up in that trailer and turned around and looked at him and looked at me, and I like, boy, I tell you, I feel like a fool. And he showed me how to use that come along halter from then on out, and I don't know how many people's asked me, called me to load mules after that, and it's been a tool that I just can't, I grew up with mules. My grandfather had mules, and it was a bigger log chain or a bigger rope or something bigger. But that little rope right there can really make the difference, and it can communicate with a mule. And so I've become a believer. That's about 10 years ago, guess, Steve, since you were here.
And folks, I want to point out to you, did you hear Marty say he come from a long line of mule folks? Now, he's from Tennessee, all right?
That's right.
So if you want to know about mules, Tennessee is one of them places, and he comes from a long line. And I'll tell you, when I've been to Tennessee, and of course, I'm originally from Irwin, Tennessee, up in the Smoky Mountains. And but when I've been there, I've had them old boys sit back in their suspenders and say, yeah, ain't going to teach me. What's that come along hitch? What is that? Man, look at that work. It's amazing to watch them boys lower jaw. And they've been using chains and all kinds of stuff all these years. I take this little old tiny rope, just put it out there and say, come on, mule, come along.
Yeah, it really works. And I tell you, I can't, and it just made me a believer from then on. And we bought saddles and tacks and pads and everything else. All the equipment Steve has put out, I've tried it out and used it and rode a lot of miles in it.
That's fun. That's awesome. Well, maybe we'll get to hear some of those stories here or there throughout this program today. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's a special program because we're talking about the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival. So, Marty, would you share a little bit with us about that and how it came to be? And maybe then we'll get into some of the stuff that y'all got going on. But it sure is a unique combination, mules and bluegrass music. I think that's the only time I've ever heard it together. Maybe it's more common, but share with us a little bit.
Well, in February the 15th of 2021, this country was going through a Great Depression, and I was feeling a lot of depression myself. And I reached over and grabbed my Bible and read Matthew 21:21, and it says, "If you don't have any doubt, and you have faith, you can put the mountains in the sea." And that was a time in my life, I guess, that moment. It was a spiritual thing right there, and I said, I got to do something. I got to change. I got to make something happen. Went out and bought a $200 laptop, come back and started typing up this mule show. I created a festival in the 2021 September, and that was in February of 2021. We put a 5-day, 5-night festival together, and the components were education, competition, and entertainment. We put all three of those together, and the sum of that equals give back. That was the business model. We were able to give $10,000 back to 5 different charities.
Wow.
So we have expanded on that again and enhanced our entertainment, enhanced our competition, and enhanced our education. We've got 700 kids that come through our junior mule skinner program. And last year we give it to the veterans, and this year we're going to give it to the veterans again. We want to put this show on. There's no ticket charge. The veterans will be there for donations only. If you want to donate to the veterans, we're not going to charge anybody coming in. And then we also give a mule away. I don't know if there's any other event that gives a mule away. $5 chance to win this mule. The first year we donated a mule out from my farm, and then we've had other people donate mules. So this year it's a 16-year-old Molly mule, and we've taken $5 chances. And if you don't want the mule, then we auction the mule off, and you get half the whatever the mule brings. But all the money from that mule goes to the veterans. And we've got about 1,500 tickets, I guess, and we've sold a lot in the past few months. I'm sure we'll be sold out by the time the festival gets here at the end. Saturday night, September the 30th, at 7 o'clock, we'll draw the winning ticket. And the veterans are helping us sell these tickets. And the staff I have, all of us want to use that business model to the fullest. Education, competition, and entertainment equals give back. And we're just delighted to have Steve to be a part of this.
Yeah, Steve, you got to go out there last year. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what your experience was? You came back singing praises. I couldn't get him to be quiet, Marty, and I suppose that's what you want. Steve come back singing praises, says, I want to go back next year. Steve, talk to us a little bit about what left such a strong impression with you.
Well, just to think about them veterans, how they give so much and get so little in so many different ways. They got to leave their families a lot of times, and it's tough. They got a lot of problems with PTSD and this sort of thing. And this here program, there's a doctor. It's really neat guy. He's 93 years old, and he was actually on a ship doing surgery on soldiers while they were bombing, I forget what island or what. Do you happen to remember, Marty, what part of the World War II he was at offhand?
Dr. Bob. He's from Louisville. I'm not remembering which island he was on, but he was a Congress-appointed Navy surgeon, trauma surgeon. Yes. And he was on a number of different ships. He came to the festival in a need. He's kind of down and out. He came. We prayed with him. We got him back on his feet. He went back to Louisville. He called me last night. He said, Marty, you still going to have the mule show? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I'm going to be there. I'm coming back. He's driving all the way from Louisville, 93 years old. He's got his hotel room. And I met him the same day that Steve was checking in at the hotel last year. And, this is about relationships. It's a lot more than just mules. It's about establishing relationships. And we have done this over and over at this festival. And we're looking forward to new relationships this year and old relationships coming back. So I'm just tickled to be a part of Dr. Bob. They wrote a song for him. They created a song for him, Dr. Bob, signed Dr. Bob. And it's just a good feeling to spread the joy of the Lord through all these relationships that we're establishing here.
Yeah. Now you hear that, Dave. You hear him. He opened the scriptures, and he got pointed in the right direction, and he stops and prays with these veterans and this sort of thing. And the Lord has put His hand on this man, and the Lord has put His hand on this program. And that's one of the things that makes me jump around about this thing is if the Lord's in it, by golly, we're going to see things happening. But we also know if the Lord's in it and things are happening, we got the old Satan kind of coming right around the corner. And that sorry beggar ain't got a toehold for nothing, because it's a praying group. But going back to this, to see, I just was going to go there and do for about an hour. Wasn't it, Marty? About an hour you want me to work around? And I ended up putting 6 or 7 hours like that. And I just kept trying to help people and visiting with things and this sort of thing. And it was a wonderful time of sharing the gospel with people. You can actually hear people say the name of Jesus up on the stage. Now that is pretty incredible, but this right here, if this don't make your pockets jump, there's something wrong with you. You got no wood to fire. But I'm going to share with you a little sad thing, folks. Not a big sad thing. a young man that I know, Matthew. He'd had PTSD. It was really tough on him, and he was in the National Guard as well. And this is kind of hard to talk about, but he took his life the other day, and that's, you know, there shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. There should be people like this organization here that reach out and say, "I'm here for you." You know, there's a lot of groups that are here for you, and here this here mule, using mules to touch lives, using bluegrass music to touch lives. That's, you know, to touch a life in the name of Jesus. I'll use any tool I can, and we're using these mules, so I'll be there. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave,
Yeah, go ahead.
We had Aaron Hudson. He came. He's got he's diagnosed PTSD. He was the first veteran that we came to us in such a very bad state. I made him the vice president of my association. I said, I want you to help me focus on people like you and help them reach out. And we got 700 fourth graders coming through our junior mule skinner program. 700. We have an hour and a half time with 700 minds. Those minds come through that junior mule skinner program, and we hope we make an imprint on them, that we spread the joy, and they learn a little bit about mules and bluegrass.
So let me ask you this, folks coming out, and first day is the 28th. So folks are coming out. When they arrive first day, what are they going to be? What are they going to experience? What are they going to be met with that first day? What's it going to be like when they get out of their cars and they make their way up towards the fairgrounds?
So they're going to see, the kids will be coming through starting Wednesday, but that's Thursday, the 28th, and they'll be continue coming through Thursday to Friday and also Saturday. But this will be a festival, like a lot of other festivals. We had a lot of food trucks, and I also have three chuckwagon cookers this year. So the chuckwagon cookers will be there. We've got a mule on a treadmill making ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on, real quick. You've got a mule making ice cream?
Yeah, he's on a treadmill, and he's churning. That treadmill's hooked up to a churn, and he's churning ice cream. Nathan Coleman, which is Al Hollow Farm, and they're good spiritual people, man. You can't beat them. They bring that mule and hook that ice cream churn up, and they churn ice cream for 4 days.
Oh my gosh!
And all those kids get that ice cream, and they sell ice cream too on Friday and Saturdays and during the festival.
I need to get myself some mule ice cream. Okay, carry on.
We got a fish dinner, free fish dinner on Thursday night. It's up to the first 300 people that show up. And then that's the practice night for all the mules that's going to show on Friday and Saturday. They'll be practicing in the arena. The craft fair will be going on. We'll have Steve's Leatherman there. He'll be there. And we'll have some other craft vendors in Cooper Still Arena. It seats 4,000 people. And so we've got a big stage in there. And we got a big stage on the outside. We'll have bluegrass playing during the daytime on the outside and bluegrass playing on the inside at night. And the mules will be showing during the day around the stage in a different arena.
Let me ask real quick. So folks are real familiar with horse shows and horses going out there and showing. Either of you, Steve or Marty, at a mule show, what are folks looking for? Like when they're judging, what are you looking for to judge a mule?
Oh, I like this part right here, Steve. Shelbyville is the home of the gaited mule, and that's a 4-beat bilateral gait. That's what we're looking for. A 4-beat bilateral gait.
Okay. Dumb it down for me. What is a 4-beat bilateral gait, as best you can?
Steve might can do a better job of that, but it's I can't show you with my hands. It's the opposite foot meets the opposite leg in the middle.
Got it.
And it's a smooth ride. It's not a trot. It's not a 2-beat trot.
Got it. Okay.
We'll have quarter mules there too. But Shelbyville is the home of the gaited mule because of the gaited horse. It got so many gaited horses in Shelbyville, and they started breeding jacks to these gaited mares and getting these 4-beat gaited mule colts. And that's a smooth ride. So we got the western side as well. And they'll be doing some ranch classes. They have western and English classes they'll be showing in. And some of them will be handled by hand. They'll be led through a trail course, and be rode through a trail course. And we have mule pulling too. We have a mule and draft pulling. The big horses will be there. They'll be pulling the big weight up to 10,000 pounds. And we also have a draft halter classes where that they bring the draft mules and the draft horses and show them under halter.
That'll be fun. That's awesome. So they come in, the chuckwagon, you got the mule ice cream, you got showing, you got bluegrass on the outside all day, you got bluegrass on the inside at night, you got the show going on. There's a lot happening there. What do you tend to enjoy the most? I mean, you're the one putting this thing on. What has the most special meaning for you throughout the entire weekend?
Shaking hands with people.
How about it?
And showing them that come along halter that Steve. This is how you get your mule loaded right here. I love to walk up and see somebody and three people trying to push a mule in the trailer, and I said, "Hey, buddy, you need that little rope right here. You'll get this mule going." But you know that come along halter, we've broke and sold mules all over the United States. We put them in Canada, California, and every one of them has had that halter on them. We start them with that. As a matter of fact, I did a preaching to a little church, country church here, and I used that come along halter. I sent that to Steve after it was over about the halter of the world, and then the come along halter and how it communicates to the mule. It was a great experience there. That I had a mule, and I had a little boy to hold that come along halter, and then I had the regular halter, which was the way of the world. Everybody wants to put that big banded halter on them, and like Steve says, it makes them brace. They want to brace. They want to brace their back against it, and so that come along halter, I've had it. A lot of people, and everybody see me using it, and they say, "Hey, buddy, you need a halter?" I said, "No, I got one. It's on this mule right here. Don't you see it?"
And something else here, Dave. He drops the F-bomb. Did you hear the F-bomb?
I didn't know you was going to come with that. Here we go. F-bomb.
Okay, so the F-bomb is free. You see? Did you hear what he said here? Nobody's charging for anything here. It's all free. All right. And so, if you come there, you're going to get a chance to hear that free fish dinner, free watch the show, free ice cream. You see, and now,
I'm having too much fun.
And if you don't go away from this thing smiling and praising the Lord, then you're wet. Your wood is wet. I guarantee you. So here's the thing. This is for the veterans, folks. This is for veterans. And yeah, it's free, but you need to dish into your hands and your pockets, and help out these veterans. They make up songs for these veterans, their lives and this sort of thing. But it's a wonderful thing. It's great. I told my wife, I said, I can't wait to hurry up and get there. I'm looking forward to it. And I even asked Mr. Marty for a little extra time, and I had people start calling me saying, "Hey, can I bring my mule?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love to have a couple mules there." "Well, how much does it cost?" I said, "It's free." And you ought to heard it, just total silence. You mean I get to be with you for free? And I said, "Yeah, for free. That's right. But it's a donation, And believe me, if you don't donate, y'all make you feel bad." Yeah.
So let me ask you. So how? So it is free to get in. So talk to me. How are y'all taking donations? Is there a bucket that's being passed around the whole time? Is there a place to go? How are people going to be donating? And where is this money going to be going that does come in?
Well, Dave, the last 2 years we've paid people, and we've charged prices. I just got out of the ticket business. Really, we paid people to take up the money, and we paid people to manage the ticket prices, and then we turn around and give it away. So my discussion with the veterans, I said, "Hey, if you all get to the gate, man the gate from 8 to 8, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and anybody that comes through that gate, they want to participate, you all get the money." And they said, "That's a deal." So the veterans will be at the gate. They'll be there. They'll be handing out mule magazines, programs, and information about the map, about what's going on. And you can donate right there every day, one day, whatever you want to do. But I've gotten out of the ticket business. After 2 years, I've learned that I'm just going to have faith this year. And you ain't going to believe this. I'm telling you, I prayed about it. I went to Colorado and rode Lizard Head Mountain. And on my way to Colorado, I said, man, I probably messed up. I ain't going to get no ticket sales this year. Usually have about $10,000 worth of ticket sales. And this is the truth. This is the truth. Oh Lord, it gets run chills over me. I just thought maybe I messed up, Lord. I don't know. I came home. There was a woman called me and an organization that was closing up called Great Strides. They were closing this therapeutic riding program down. And they said they had read about my program and they wanted to donate the money to me for this program. And because they thought we were helping the community. And I said, okay, we'll just send a check, AMMA, and we'll put it in on the festival. It was $10,000.
Wow. How about that?
It was $10,000. I counted the zeros 5 times. But I prayed all the way to Colorado. Lord, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not because I'm going to be 10,000 short this year. They're just going to have to have faith and it's going to work out. And I had put on a mule show for them 6 years ago, the therapeutic riding program, Great Strides. And we donated, we gathered them about $3,000 or $4,000 each time we did a mule show just for them. And they're dissolving that organization and they had money. And they said, we want to donate it, not sponsorship, but donate it. A $10,000 check. Now you tell me, like Steve said, this Lord's got his hand in this because I didn't know where that 10,000 was going to come from this year because we just have faith and don't give it to the veterans. Well, like I said, the first year we had a $45 ticket. The second year we had a $16 ticket. And I said, I'm getting out of this business. I'm getting out of this ticket business. I'm going to just have faith. And like Steve said, that's the right thing to do. And see how it worked out.
That's great. Steve, so you went there to do about an hour last time and then wound up doing 6, 7, 8 hours. You're going to be there. How many sessions do you have this time, Steve? Do you have 1 or 2? Can y'all remind me how many sessions?
2 sessions. We scheduled 2 sessions.
And what are folks going to be doing during your sessions, Steve? Do you have anything? Is it a live version of Ask Steve, or is it? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, it is going to be a live version. I got people with different little things with their mules, and they're going to come in and tell me this one little lady, she's bought this mule and she bought my saddle and stuff, and she keeps asking questions and this sort of thing. Last year, she wanted to come and me help her put things together, and it just didn't work out. But this year, she's going to be there, and we're going to talk about saddles. If somebody in the audience throws their hand up and they're going to say, Steve, I can't pick up the foot of my mule, then I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. It's going to be kind of a listen to your mule and ask questions. And that's going to be about it. I'm going to say, listen to your mule. Okay. And why does my mule do that? So those are going to be the 2 main programs we're going to be doing. And I'm just going to be there as long as it needs to be until Mr. Marty says it's time to go or whatever. Or my wife says, you got to get some rest. Or, my problem is I get wound up on these mules and go from there. Then when people start talking about the Lord, I get even more wound up and go from there,
So Marty, you talked to us before we started recording today's program. You started telling me about something that I wasn't familiar with. It was Uncle Dave Macon Days. Would you tell me a little bit about what that is and the significance of that and how it relates to this year's festival?
I sure will. Uncle Dave Macon was one of the first Grand Ole Opry stars in Nashville, Tennessee. He lived in Middle Tennessee. He had a mule carriage company that he hauled freight from Cannon County to Rutherford County. And he would play his banjo while he was driving these mules throughout the countryside. And people would be in the cornfields working, and he'd pull over and he'd rap that banjo, more wear it out. And everybody just a great feeling to see him, such a joyful man. and he was hauling freight at the same time. Well, he died in 1952, and they have been having Uncle Dave Macon days. I don't know, it's been like 40 or 50 years, celebrating his life and his contributions that he did in Middle Tennessee with the music industry, and also his love for mules. And so we're pulling them in from another county, but because they didn't have a place to do it over there anymore, it was too crowded. So we're added there. They have string competitions in the past years, and they're good at the bluegrass and the banjos and everything. We just really tickled to have them with us to celebrate Uncle Dave Macon Days with American Mule and Bluegrass Festival.
That's great. So I got a copy of the schedule right here that was on the website. It says on the Wednesday, the 27th, 8 a.m. Junior Mule Skinner program. Now, so for folks who are not familiar with the Mule Skinner, what is the Junior Mule Skinner program?
Steve was last year was able to set in some of these sessions. So we have every fourth grader in Bedford County. There's a field trip for them, and they come and I've got a booklet. They get this booklet. They know about the contributions the mule has made to America. The mule pulled us, out of the Great Depression. My grandfather had 6 kids, raised 6 kids, and had a pair of mules and put in a garden. And they was critical in time of the war and in time of the Depression. The mules, man, we leaned on mules big time. And so they get that history lesson. They also get the anatomy of the mule. They know the difference between the mule and the horse and the donkey. So we give them those attributes that the mule has. Experience with mules. We'll have a mule there with a demonstration and have mule harness on them, and they'll know the parts of the harness. And then they'll get a load of a background of bluegrass and how it got started and the history of bluegrass. They'll get a certificate. And also that booklet has a story. You can't believe this, but I am a published author. I've got 2 books. One's coming out in the next month. Miss Bonnie Shields. I know Steve knows Bonnie. She's in Idaho. She's like Steve. She was raised in Tennessee and moved to Idaho. She's the Tennessee mule artist, and she did illustrations for my book. And there's an article or one of my books in that little booklet that all these 4th graders will get. Our school superintendent thought this program was worthwhile and said, I think every 4th grader in Shelbyville, Tennessee needs to see it and go to it. So that's what's happening Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The bus loads come every day. You don't have to be a 4th grader, though. Anybody that wants to know about mules can sit in on it.
And you know what? You could sit on that, and then there's plenty of other things. You got a songwriting session here with Doug Mathis. There's a homesteading session. I think you said there's over 100 different sessions, expos, clinics type things happening. That's great. You got Tennessee homestead design, songwriting session with Jessica Horton. I mean, this is a pretty dense schedule, meaning there's something for everyone, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Steve, what days? I know you're presenting twice. What days are you actually going to be there? Because I imagine folks will want to see you walking around a little bit.
Well, I'm going to be there every day, and I'm going to be over by that ice cream, eating some of that ice cream.
Gonna put that mule to work. Be like, we were going to be done 3 hours ago, but we got this young buck here standing here with a twirly hat on and a balloon, waiting for more ice cream.
Yeah, that little fat guy needs more ice cream. And then I'm going to be over by them their wagons, them chuck wagons. I'll tell you what, there ain't a skinny cook among them guys, and they cook good. And they got them Dutch ovens rattling. And I volunteer, Dave. I volunteer to test everything they cook.
Yeah, I knew you would. That's consistent with the Steve Edwards I know.
That's right. I volunteer. So no, I'll be around. If somebody's they want to ask me a question, I'll be walking around. Just tap me on the shoulder, and I'll be happy to visit with you. I'm here to help out this here program, and it's as you hear, Marty's got his heart in this, and Marty seeking the Lord in this program and this sort of thing. And I'm right there with him. I've had my Bible study group praying with about this thing, and I'm right there in it too. And I'll do whatever I got to do to help, but I'm going to be there to help. Yep.
So by the time we get around to Sunday, of course, if there's other things happening the weekend you want to talk about, Marty, you can.
Yeah.
But we get around to Sunday, and that's when prayer services, worship services, that kicks off. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about that? And it's Kingdom Cultivation Ministries.
Yeah, so John Stone, first of all, the wagon masters, he's going to be cooking the breakfast for Sunday morning. So he's a chuckwagon cooker. And he's volunteered to have a good breakfast for us on Sunday morning. And then Jay Pope, my pastor, Kingdom Cultivation Ministry, he's an old cowboy, not an old cowboy. I mean, he's younger than me, but we grew up together, and he broke coats and rode horses. And he'll be giving a service on Sunday, and then we'll have a break, and we'll also have a worship team singing. We'll have live entertainment. And then on Witt's Barbecue, we'll furnish the barbecue on the evening service. They'll be free. They don't cost any of this Sunday service. Don't cost anything to eat, or you come get your soul fed and your belly fed. Then we'll have plenty of food, and we'll have plenty of time to worship on Sunday.
That'll be a lot of fun. So real quick, let's do a hard turn. You said that you grew up a mule man. You said that you've done different rides and things like that. What you've been working on recently, Marty? What have you been doing recently with mules, training, etc.? What's life been like the last several months?
Well, we've had the great opportunity. We've had some wagon mules. We got a pair of wagon mules, and we've had saddle mules too. My wife, she rides quarter mules, and I ride gaited mules. We've been able to be fortunate to have people come and stay at our bunkhouse and ride mules for a couple of days. And if they want them, it fits, they buy them, they go home with them. We've put mules from California to Canada to the East Coast, and been fortunate to have good success with that. I'm trail riding a mule right now, a big 16-2 mule, Abilene. Just got back in Colorado a few months ago. We rode the Lizard Head Mountain where John Wayne did the True Grit scene, called Hell You Ride in Colorado, right outside of Durango. We're planning another trip, trying to get another trip up to go out west. In November, I'll be at Caney Mountain, Arkansas, and also the Paint Congress, the Paint Horse Congress in November in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We'll be at that mule show too. We'll be promoting the American Mule and Bluegrass folk there too. The Pinto Association is a big sponsor of our show. Don McGee and the Long Ear Registry. We'll be attending that November show in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that's a big thing. Well, we enjoy that, and they got bluegrass. They have bluegrass as well, and a lot of mules and a lot of paint horses. So, and then we got I guess in January next year, February timeframe, Columbia Mule Days coming up next year in 2024. So we got a heavy schedule. American Mule and Bluegrass Festival continues all through the year at all these mule events. Anthony,
are you sleeping?
Well, very little. I cut about 250 acres of hay as well. We got a 150-acre farm here, so I'm in the tractor when I'm not on this laptop. There's four laptops right here that I work off of, and spend about 8 hours on the laptops and 10 hours in the tractor, and the rest of it trying to.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm listening to all of this. I've got 3 little boys, and I thought I was tired, and I'm hearing everything that you've got going on. I was like, okay, I guess I'll take my 3 little boys, because that seems like you got that full schedule going on. Steve, anything else you want to talk about as it relates to just the festival, the conversations you've had with Marty? Anything else you wanna share with folks who are hanging out with us today?
No, I mean, y'all just come there wanting a good time, and enjoying the mules and bluegrass and stuff. And I'm going to be there doing whatever I got to do. I'm there to answer your questions. I know a lot of you have been in contact with me and said, when's the programs and this sort of thing, when you going to be there? Well, basically, I'm going to be there when the gates open and when the gates close. So, to answer questions, whatever. And this year is going to be a little bit different. Mr. Marty went and let us have a little place, and we're going to actually have some of my saddles and other equipment there as well to sell and for folks to look at. So that's a kind of a rarity that be able to be there. And there's also going to be we're also going to be donating from our sales there, donating to these veterans. This is an important program, y'all. I mean, there's a lot of programs out there for the veterans, but here these mules have really put forth the effort, and this is right in the heart of mule country, this Shelbyville. So I just really impress upon y'all. Tell everybody, your grandmother's Aunt Tilly, anybody come along. There's camping there. There's hotels, all kinds of different things, places for y'all to stay as well. But you go there and enjoy the mules, ask questions. When you see Marty, he'll always shake your hand and visit with you. But
Well, he said that's his favorite part right there. I asked him at the beginning, "What's your favorite part?" He says, "Shaking hands."
Yeah,
he's
it really is.
Evangelist. He's the mule evangelist. But I'm just happy Mr. Marty invited me to come along. I really feel I'm beyond, it's beyond words to say I appreciate him inviting me to come and being part of this program. And the Lord's in it. It's phenomenal. You just heard what he said. Now, I gotta throw a little bit out there. Anytime the Lord wanted something done, he always provided the financing for it. Anytime. We just take the simple story of Mary and Joseph, and the Lord talked to him in a dream, said, "Take up and get out of here." And just before that, three rich guys come along and gave them all kinds of money and things like this to get them through, to get them going. And you'll see that time and time and time again. If God wants a program together, he'll provide the financing, he'll provide the manpower, and he'll find a way. And that's God's will. That's what we got to consider here. What do we got to do to help out these veterans? And Marty's using this bluegrass and these here mules to share the gospel, but to help these men and women out.
Dave, my grandfather said something a long time ago, and a lot of people, we've educated a lot of people, but and I think Steve will agree to this. Most people underestimate the value of a good mule. And when I say the value of a good mule, I mean the value of these mules that we're doing right now is reaching out to relationships and helping change people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put a price on that.
No. Give me an example of something recently you see, just so folks understand.
Well, just taking the mule in a conversation and bringing the mule up to the conversation. Now, this is a hybrid animal. They don't. A lot of people, 9 times out of 10 people that we talk to, they don't know the difference between a mule and a horse. I'm sorry. Hang on.
Anyway, Dave, I've been in, like, for instance, I was on a cruise years ago, and I come there and I had this hat on, and I had me a real fancy jacket and a tie, and we sat down and everybody says, "Well, I'm a doctor and I'm an Indian chief and I'm, and this sort of thing." And then they said, "What do you do, Steve?" I said, "Well, I train mules." All the conversation, Dave, just changed and went to talk. What do you do with mules? What a mule? Well, how do you get a mule? And it's just amazing how that conversation will change as soon as you say the word mule.
Yeah, that's right.
It does. You take during World War II, them mules were used in them mountains of Italy. Tough stuff. And them mules gave their lives for them men and did things that are just phenomenal. When a horse, when he take off running, he'd still be running. And that mule was sitting there doing his job, But you betcha, they changed lives in all kinds of ways. And they changed the lives of these veterans. As soon as you touch a mule, it's almost like, wow, this is really the real thing, you know.
Yeah, why don't you pick up there, Marty, where you left off?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We have a dog kennel here. Um, yeah, it's just the conversation, like Steve says, we talked about mules and get to know people and develop relationships. The mule to me is closer to the dog. I mean, they're loyal, and I don't know why they call a dog man's best friend, because a mule carried me 20 miles, and a dog has never done that. I can't believe how it gotten through. It's just amazing that we have used these mules to build all the roads that we have. They pulled us out of the wars, the depression, and they just really haven't got the credit they deserve, I think. And when we talk to people, we develop that relationship, develop that trust, and show this joy that we have about this animal. And that's all about what we want to try to get across to people, and showing them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm so grateful that you took some time to hang out with us today. Is there anything else you want to share about the festival as we sign off here, Marty? Anything that maybe we should have mentioned but didn't get a chance to?
Well, we have a cast iron cooking contest: the best brisket, the best beans, and the best cornbread. We got about
And
7
Steve's judging that one
right
too,
now.
right?
There's money in that, and Steve, he'll be testing all that brisket.
They're gonna have to bring Steve back on an 18-wheeler. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We're just looking forward to seeing Steve, and always it's just a joy. I don't know. We've met up at different places before, but him being a part of this is really just to help me get the word out, especially in the west part of the world. I had a couple from Washington State call yesterday and said they're bringing their camper. They're camping with us from Washington State. So, they just reach out, and it's really helping. And I just appreciate all of you all have done on this podcast and supporting the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival and everything you've done. We just really appreciate the time.
Yeah, well, we love doing it. Steve came back, couldn't be quiet about it. So I said, well, I know something special's happening there. And we've been talking about it for months, but talk only goes so far. Folks, make sure that you check out, do a Google search for American Mule and Bluegrass Festival. That'll take you exactly to where you need to go. And you get all the information about location, scheduling, timing. Everything that you need is going to be there at what's the actual URL? I know they can find it by a Google search, but I can't remember the URL.
Well, the easiest place is to find it: MaconMusicandMules.com.
MaconMusicandMules.com.
MACON. That's MACON because that's Dave Macon.
Yep.
MaconMusicandMules.com. They I guess I got outruled. They put music before mules. I always want to put the music before a mule before the music, but in this case,
Good
put
man.
music before mules.
Good. So go check it out, MaconMusicandMules.com. The schedule's there. You can get all the information. Steve will be there, and I feel like I can speak for Steve and Marty. If you see either of them, don't just kind of like stand back and watch them. That's weird. Go up and shake their hand, say hello. Tell them that you've seen them on YouTube. Tell them that you're excited to be there. Share with them what you're most excited about. And they would love to meet you. I know that that's Marty's favorite thing, and that's what Steve really enjoyed the most, was meeting the folks and spending time. So if you see them, don't act shy and just stare at them. Like I said, that's weird. Go up, shake their hand. That's normal. Thank you for hanging out today, Steve. Any last words?
No, I think that'll work. I just when you get a chance, you come up to me and you ask me. And you can even ask my brother here too, Mr. Marty, what is the Apostle Paul? What was the name of his mule? Come up and ask me, and I'm going to tell you, because not a whole lot of people know, these theologians don't know what the Apostle Paul's mule name was. So, but it just happens to be that Marty knows and I know. So come on up now. We'll share that with you.
That'd be great. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Happy trails.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
You betcha.